Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having an amazing day. As always, leaving a like or a comment or both of them. It helps out the channel immensely and is very much appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. The upper house of the United Kingdom Parliament has approved the Financial Services and Markets Bill, or the FSMB. The bill aims to regulate stablecoins and crypto assets, provides supervising crypto promotions. Here's the tweet for it right here. As we've gone over before, this is the year of the central bank digital currency, and more so the year of the stablecoin, if you kind of want to throw it out there. A number of countries have announced they are going to be developing their stablecoin and or central bank digital currency system in some sort of way, and now the United Kingdom has basically done the exact same thing. This is two things. A lot of countries are putting forth their proposals for a central bank digital currency, and or some of the banks are actually even calling it stablecoins, which is completely insane and weird to me. But the other part is that the regulations are now, I think, almost like a bit of an answer to the non-regulations from the United States. There's also, I don't think I have it in this video, but there's a lot of other countries who've like almost like back to back the last couple of days been making sure that they release some kind of comprehensive framework and or answers to people looking to get into the cryptocurrency space. So I was fairly certain that the UK already had some kind of actual cryptocurrency regulations. And I feel like if they must have just been waiting for the US to do something, but I'm sure they realize that there's a lot of money trying to flow into their borders now, because we keep getting news about different companies within the cryptocurrency space who are trying to move, either to Ireland, which is EU, but also to London to be able to do extra business. And they've had a more, allegedly, according to them, a more welcoming environment when it comes to basically trying to do business within their borders. The bill was tabled in July 2022 to capitalize on the post-Brexit liberties open for the country and give regulators greater control over the financial system. And I say this in the nicest way possible. For those of you who are not in the United Kingdom, or for those of you who just simply have not read about Brexit, a lot of people, I understand there's so many other things going on in your life. Debacle, like a literal actual debacle. And if you look at any documentaries or even just like normal videos of people talking about it, the entire thing should not have happened. And it's because of people lying for the last couple of years that basically the UK could be in probably one of the strongest world economies right now. And this is why I also think that we've seen the amount of companies who are talking about trying to do business with the UK. The UK is trying to open up their wings. It doesn't make any sense. They're trying to make sure that money flows back into their country, because so many of these other companies have just simply moved to mainland Europe to do business where everything is a lot more. The world is so fragmented and just doesn't make a lot of sense. And there's so many weird things happening at the exact same time. And it's just about, as always, literally just doing your own research. The original bill proposed regulating stablecoins within the country's payment standards. Later amendments included classifying all cryptocurrencies as regulated and instituting measures to monitor crypto marketing. The procedures, according to members of parliament, were part of a plan to tidy up the bill in order to assure its effectiveness, basically trying to make sure that people actually bring money to your country once again. So I don't think there's any explicit news as to when the UK is planning on releasing or launching their central bank digital currency. This is kind of the year of regulations wrapping around it. But sure, they'll get it together completely soon, because I'm pretty sure they don't have a choice at this point when everyone else is talking about central bank digital currencies, stable coins, and the like. Tying indirectly into it, which I found really funny, because a lot of people... Do people not know what time is? Is time only something that I'm experiencing and no one else has like an actual grasp on? I say that because, okay, I think I get it. The cryptocurrency space is super large. not a lot of people are looking for information in anything in life in general, especially when it comes to crypto. And even far fewer people are looking for their information on YouTube. And then far fewer people are looking for information that is specifically the style of videos that I do. I was having a conversation with someone recently about my style of YouTubing. And they said this is what they said they liked it because I'm a excuse my French, like a no BS kind of guy, because I'm tired of sugarcoating everything for adults. Like if you don't get it by now, like I'm not here to hold your hand the entire way. But we go over stuff so often. But I think the issue here is that so many things keep happening in this space, and I think the large majority of people who have cryptocurrency channels, they don't care about any of like the actual meat and bones of anything. It's just about hype. It's just where this coin is going, is how much money you can make, how rich you're going to be, what kind of Lambos you can buy. I see the other channels popping up again. This is a gigantic warning to about a good 70% of you out there. You know who you are, who have recently got back into the market, have friends who are getting back into the market, who are still kind of on the sidelines, and you're going to jump in when cryptocurrency prices are too high, realizing that you should have bought before. The other cryptocurrency channels are going to return again. These are the ones with the 18-year-olds with their hats backwards, writing on a little chalkboard, talking about how much money you can make in a day. When the crazy euphoric bull run happens, if this is your first time here, every coin is a winner. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Every cycle that we've had so far has all been relatively the same. I'm not a psychic. I can't speak for the future. I don't know what this bull run is going to be like. But let me tell you, the last 4 that we've had have all followed the exact same thing. No matter where you put your money, you will make money. This is part of the euphoria of the actual cycle. This is why when prices begin to collapse again, everyone's kind of confused because they're used to this year and a half of prices just completely spiking. The issue here actually lies in the fact that the other YouTube channels will continue to peddle and give you these ridiculous coins and coins that have just appeared. I'm not talking about something that's been around for 6 months, 9 months, maybe has 1 or 2 partnerships with a major company. It'll be stuff that you have to ask your friend, how do I pronounce this? Those kind of coins. And they're going to go up. You will put your money into them and you will be devastated to find out that they are either scams or pump and dumps. And you will lose a lot of money by putting, and this is once again, just a word of caution. I've been here a long time. I'm trying to make sure one of my goals this entire bull run is to make sure that everyone is so completely well informed. Say it with me. No one can say that they didn't know something was going on. They didn't hear about the news. When did that happen? No. I want none of that, because the other bull runs, I had situations where people kept on telling me that they didn't know this news was happening, or that would have changed their opinion on something. And I was like, maybe I'm not doing a good job bringing them the actual daily news of what's going on. No more mistakes here. You are going to be hyper well informed during the next euphoric bull cycle, which usually takes place after Bitcoin has undergone the halving. This is now what we call an accumulation period, where people are accumulating cryptocurrencies because the larger players understand that we are about to get back into that cycle of prices moving up for a good year and a half. And why do I say all that? Is basically because we go over news daily. This isn't like I'm making videos once every 19 weeks or something like that. The next thing in the news is basically, we've known about this for a good 2 years. Not 2 days, not 2 weeks, not 2 hours. This isn't brand new news. We knew that this was going to happen. But the amount of people who were like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the end. They confirmed it. I'm like, they mentioned this before. This was part of the mantra of cryptocurrencies, is that we knew that as decentralization became a larger thing and people around the world understood what decentralization was, and the powers that be understood that everyone could have some type of economic monetary control in their own way, that we would start to see pushback. This is why when you hear this stuff about the SEC, it gets me riled up and annoyed, because these people are hyper corrupt, but we knew that was coming. When you talk about the idea of a central bank digital currency or a country's stable coin, it is not a confusing thing that they are going to do this. So the news that we have now that this is basically going to be a planetary thing, the amount of people I saw online who were like, this is terrible. Like, why are they doing this? I'm like, we knew that this was going to be a thing since like 2018 when they were having the first discussions of it. In a move to reshape the financial landscape, the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, is said to be developing a global cryptocurrency platform. We all knew that. The World Bank and the IMF mentioned many times they want something that's interoperable, and they don't want any more fragmentation. This has nothing to do with you having an easier life or making it easier to send payments or making it easier for you to swap money or not having to go to those like weird, like if you travel before, like those things we have to like exchange your paper currency. They want ultimate control over every transaction that's happening around the world. If you listen to a lot of the conversations that the world leaders have when they ever are doing those 15 people event and they're talking and stuff, it has to do with monetary control and that they want to know where all money is flowing at any time. The hyper criminalization of the idea of money laundering. Remember years ago when it was like, if you're moving more than 50,000, that's a big no-no. And then it became 10,000. And this is why now countries are having discussions that if you're trying to move more than 1,000 out of a country, you might get in trouble without telling them. This is where this all ties in. We know that the digitization of everything is happening. We see it before us. It's magical. Woo, amazing internet. But then you have the other side of it where we know that cryptocurrencies are going to take over. They already are taking over. This is not a question. This is not a fantasy. This is not maybe it'll happen one day. When you talk about BlackRock is throwing their $11 trillion weight around getting into this market, the big money is actually here. The next step is, as a country, trying to figure out how you get extra monetary control. Well, how do you do that? You start phasing out paper money. You make sure that you are discouraged from using paper money. I remember when I was younger, you must remember this commercial. There was a commercial, it was from Visa or MasterCard, and it was it was a commercial with people dancing in a store. Like they were ballerinas, they were all spinning, and everyone was really happy that they were, buying stuff, typical a way to get people to feel bad, and therefore I want to be happy, so I have to buy more stuff. But the people were all spinning around buying stuff, and they were going up to the cashier, and they were swiping their card, smiling and walking away, swiping, smiling and walking away. And then one person goes, "Can I pay with cash?" And the whole, the record stops, and everyone falls over. And it's like, don't be that guy. It's this idea. It's a slow process that's been going on for the last 20 to 30 years. And the idea is that even now, right now, is that they can basically track nearly every transaction that you're doing. If you go to an ATM and take cash out, which is very rare, they can't track that. And there are some other ways you can kind of circumvent it. We won't talk about it here, but you understand what I'm saying. But there's a reason why Apple Watches have been pushed and have become so popular. If for those of you who don't live in a place where you can enter your metro and or subway system with your watch or your phone, if you've never been to London before, when you enter the tube, the metro, the trains, you have to, tap. Usually you have something called an Oyster card, which is basically like a metro card, but not really, kind of esque. But the other way to get inside the system now, like inside the transit system, is by tapping your Apple Watch or by tapping your phone. The thing about that is that they can literally tell what station you're entering in, where you paid. The way that it works in London and not in many other places is when you exit, you usually also have to tap your Metro card as well. But guess what? If you entered with your watch, you tap out with your watch. They can see where you entered and where you exited. This is all about control. This isn't a tinfoil hat thing. It is literally because governments believe that we are relatively unintelligent and therefore we need to be tracked or whatever in some sort of way. Like I've had conversations with people about this before and they're like, I don't think it's really that way. And I'm like, well, it's not about what you think. It's about what's actually happening. You know how annoyed I get when people try to have like financial conversations with me and they don't know what inflation is. They don't know what the IMF is. They don't know anything about like economic policies. I don't claim to be like the authority when it comes to all these things. But listen, If reading and going through this news every single day hasn't at least given me like, some sort of superpowers at this point, I don't really know exactly what's going on in the world then. Everything that we see around us, you cannot do these things overnight. It has to be a slow process that takes a good decade or two to get people used to the entire new system. And we've gotten to the point where governments have figured out that we are used to using digital payments, and the next step is completely digital payments. You'll see even in the wording of this article, it's all complete nonsense, but it's the way that they have to make sure that it's marketed for the masses. It says, in a move to reshape the financial landscape, the International Monetary Fund is said to be developing a global cryptocurrency platform or a digital payments platform, what have you. The project's primary aim is to provide an environment that promotes financial inclusion, remember that, enhances the efficiency of payment systems, and expedites cross-border payments and remittances. The old system that a lot of countries are still using is from the 1970s. It's not a joke. We're still using, in a lot of cases, systems that are from the 1970s. And a lot of people were telling me before that JP Morgan is using Zeal or Zelly or whatever these stupid things that I hate the names that they give these things. These are still on the back end. The old system is still being used. Like, understand that. The finality of a lot of these transactions is still on a system that is from 50 years ago. So you may see an instantaneous thing on your account. You are credited something that behind the scenes still needs to be paid off because it is a form of debt that has been issued to you. So you get your money instantaneous the same exact way when you are using Ether and you're staking your Ether. And a lot of UC platforms have like liquid staking. So you get immediately the rewards that you would get. But in reality, the crypto exchange that gave you the money, the liquidity fast, behind the scenes, they are owed an IOU from the actual blockchain. That's the way that all this stuff works. The idea of financial inclusion is one of the cringiest things in the entire world to me, because these countries, these systems, these international monetary funds and the World Bank and the Bank of International Settlements, they're using the idea of financial inclusion because it sounds very PC. It sounds like something, at least that I myself would like for the world. I want everyone to have access to money. I want everyone to be in the financial system, but these systems that were created, and I give it a good 100 years ago, like solid, like the foundation of what we have now from the 1910s, they excluded poor people on purpose. If you've ever, I grew up in a very poor neighborhood as a kid. I remember there not being any banks. We had ATMs that made sure you were charged a fee, and we had check cashing places. For those of you who don't know what that is, there were no banks around, so there were people who knew that they could take advantage of the poor people in the neighborhood. And one way that they did this is when my parent got their paycheck, we had to go to a check cashing place, and they would cash the check for us. This is something that was usually done at a bank, but there were no banks in the area because we were too poor. Part of the problem with the check cashing places, they knew that they could make a very large fee. Normally, if you brought your check to the bank, a bank that you had signed up for, it was usually not a fee. You're already a customer at the bank. But if you went to the check cashing place and they saw that your weekly your check or whatever was $260, they would take about $15, $20 of that. Why? Because they're doing the service for you. That's kind of the entire predatory thing. When you talk about the idea of financial inclusion, we live in a world that can we have the technology to completely run on wind, solar, and hydroelectricity. I want you to really understand how far technology has come. Understand where we are as a society. To say something out loud that says that this will promote financial inclusion, there are it's estimated between 3 to 4 billion people on the planet who have no access to the current financial system. I mentioned in one of my other videos, this is probably last year, I said, so we I forget all the time how privileged we are. And I know someone just rolled their eyes. If this isn't for you, please go away if you don't want to hear about helping people. We forget how lucky we are to have a computer, to have high-speed internet, to hold the device that you're having in your hand. We don't think about oh snap, how am I going to hold this money? What am I going to do with my money? Our money's inflating, but it hasn't hyperinflated by 800%. We are included in the actual financial inclusion that has been around because we were lucky enough to be born where we were born. 3 to 4 billion people over the course of the last 100 years were purposefully excluded from the financial system. We won't go into why, and I know someone, you know why if you've ever read any more than 10 books as far as economic policies and the people who used to run the world. The idea now is that we can make more money from this people. Tell me how. It's super simple. Remember the other day when we were talking about Tether? For those of you who missed it, Tether is the largest stablecoin on the planet. Cool, got that part. But we had news that I think in 1 quarter, in 3 months of the year, I think Tether had made $250 million or billion dollars, $250 million, I think, just from fees from using their stablecoin. Just from fees, just from the back end fees of you clicking, I want to send Tether. They made a ginormous amount of money, and they announced that they would be putting a portion of that into Bitcoin. That is Tether. It is estimated that there are, over the course of a year, quadrillions, that's a number after trillion, of dollars equivalent worth of value that's being moved around the world. When you talk about a company that was created in 2017, 2018, Tether, doing $1 billion from back-end transactions, that's not even saying what the people from Tether might be doing in the front end in their own business. All companies in the cryptocurrency space, they trade crypto. So we didn't even know how much money Tether is making from trading crypto, from mining Bitcoin, any other operations. It's safe to assume that this multi-billion-dollar company is not simply going, okay, guys, let's hope that they trade Tether today. No, they're making money in some sort of other way. Now bring it on back. If you saw that this small company was making tons of money, remember how I kept on saying all those news publications who keep popping up talking about how evil Tether is, how horrible Tether is, how Tether's a fraud, and Tether keeps showing us audits. We have the money. We're not fake. We're definitely real. They've showed 12, 13 times over the course of the last 5, 6 years. Why would these major companies continue to lie about Tether? For the same exact reason that the SEC would continue to lie about other cryptocurrencies. It's about money and it's about control. If you are the International Monetary Fund and you control economic policies around the world, you tell, and they have told other countries, you better not adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. It's happened to 6 other countries in the last couple of years. Remember when we had all those countries, they came forward, they said that they wanted to make bonds, like government bonds against Bitcoin. The country wanted to buy Bitcoin. We had this news. It was a couple of countries within the Middle East that was shut down within hours. Hours. Now, if you are the International Monetary Fund and you see that Tether, a company, is making $1 billion plus per year just in fees from a couple $1 billion worth of Tether being sloshed around. Imagine if you are the International Monetary Fund and you make a new system. What happens when there's trillions of dollars flowing through your system? How much money is the IMF making on the back end just from fees? If you talk about that, there's about $30 quadrillion flowing through the world's monetary system at any given point, and all of it has to then flow through the International Monetary Fund's new system. How much money is the International Monetary Fund making? Yeah, I just heard someone go, oh my gosh, yes. This is why it's all connected. This has nothing. You mean to tell me since the 1970s, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the Bank for International Settlements, Bank of America, whatever it was called back in the day, JP Morgan Chase, and all the other high-end banks were not able to open up shop in Latin America? They couldn't open up a couple of bank branches around Africa? They just simply overlooked Southeast Asia. But now they figured out a way to not only make quick money that is guaranteed to flow through them. The idea of money laundering disappears when you control the system. You know where everything goes. Taxation becomes immediate. Yeah, we saw there was a transaction for $10,000 that hit your account. That money was from my son. He was helping me pay my rent. Oh yeah, but you didn't declare it. So we're going to be taking 42% of that. This is what's coming. This is why I keep saying that decentralization is so important. The fragmentalized cryptocurrency space is disgusting. The fact that everyone's fighting over stupid things all the time. My ADA is better than your XRP. XRP is better than Bitcoin. Who cares? These people are trying to sweep the earth from under us. And we will literally have complete monetary control forever. You think this system that they're making is going to disappear in 15 years? They're going to go, guys, I think people need freedom. What do you think is coming? The only thing that gives me some kind, and it's sad, the only thing that gives me some kind of hope is when companies like BlackRock actually get into the space. You would assume, because it's hyper dystopian, BlackRock should not be getting into a system that is meant to bring economic freedom. But BlackRock getting into it lets me know that Bitcoin's going to be around for a very long time. That there will be at least fragments of the world who are probably going to be using Bitcoin as their monetary system. Everything else is, and I almost cursed, everything else is going to be fudged. I don't get it. Everyone's so complacent all the time about all these terrible things that keep happening. So when I saw that this was news, we've known this for a while. We should have all been preparing for this for a very long time. But the cryptocurrency space will only continue to be more fragmentalized as we go into the next bull run. Why? Because at some point, the 18th coin is going to outperform the number 5 coin, and that coin is going to be the new popular, and some new meme coin is going to pop up, and that's going to distract other people from doing all these other, So yeah, the news is the International Monetary Fund is trying to create their own financial system to be more inclusive for you and your family, so that when you have grandkids, like, they can live in a more free world. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that awesome? It's almost like I hope one day that a person or a group of people create something that allows us to actually get away from the old system that's becoming more and more invasive. But we just have to wait until that happens. Like, what's going on? Anyway, and then whatever, and then whatever. All right, that's the International Monetary Fund news. Try to, as always, do research, look around and see what's going on. Try to get a sliver of an idea of, I don't know. Anyway, that's is it also right here as well? Yeah, there we go. It says new global central bank digital currency platform must be built to outrun cross-border crypto adoption. This was said by the International Monetary Fund managing director. Cool. Yeah. That's going to do it for this video. As always, a gigantic thank you to my Patreon supporters: Jimmy Jim, American Crypto Academy, Martin Stoyer, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad. And let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin, Ben Arachno, Dave the Dealers, and Captain Summoning, Z-Way, Lay, Mobarazzi, VB Nerd 21, Lord, Silver Quarter, Bitty, Troy, Olga, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Pattern, Austin, Navarro, Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman, High, XRPinos, Roman, Charles Hussein, Anna Marita, Bibliophobia, Adam Grayson, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cold D3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Jim Garner, Jimmy Fox, Minting Coin, Just to Crypto, Anytime Fitness, Mom's Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Macho Lisa, and On Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Hope you all are having a good life or something like that. I don't know. Thank you all once again for watching and listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See